Toolkit 2 by Kathryn Forney. There are many misconceptions about differentiation. Differentiation is not tracking or grouping students into classes by ability. It is not something extra on top of good teaching, but differentiation is a student-focused way of thinking about teaching and learning. Artifact 4 comes from the inquiry and discussion strategy. With these strategies, students are able to engage, explore, explain, elaborate, and evaluate. This artifact covers SOL 8.11. The student will collect and analyze data, determine the equation of the curve of best fit in order to make predictions and solve real-world problems. On the first day of this lesson, students are learning about scatter plots, and then we dive into learning about the curve of best fit versus the line of best fit. They use their Casio calculators for graphing. The second day, we continue with notes and create scatter plots on the Casio calculator. Students also are learning how to create prediction equations and make predictions about the data. Day 4 is where students complete an exit ticket that really allows me to get a great understanding of what my students have learned. For this lesson, students had to research a topic of interest with at least 10 data points. They had to fill in their table and find the correlation coefficient for both a linear regression and quadratic regression. Students had to determine which equation was the best fit. From there, students had to write a paragraph comparing which function they chose and draw a conclusion. All of my students were very engaged during this assignment. It allowed them an opportunity to make real-world connections with statistics. Some of my students struggled with inputting dates, such as the years, so that would be something that I would like to explain further before they start the lesson. Artifact 5 will be covering Virginia SOL 8.4F. The student will solve multi-step linear and quadratic equations in 2 variables. First day, students will complete a bell ringer and review solving systems of equations by graphing, elimination, and substitution. This reading for meaning activity gives the students a word problem. Questions 1 through 8 really dissects the word problem, allowing students to solve for the final solution in number 9. This assignment was given right before spring break. There seemed to be lots of confusion on the final step, even though they were able to really set the problem up in the previous questions. I think in the future I would implement this prior to spring break instead of right before. Creativity is important. It is what sets us apart from one another. As an educator, it is important to make sure that we are not hindering creativity. Artifact 6 covers Virginia SOL 8.4. The student will solve multi-step linear and quadratic equations in 2 variables. On the first day, I will introduce the Scamper model to my students. Then we will review equation vocabulary and students will complete a problem. With that problem, I will use that to determine who will complete the Scamper activity and who will get further instruction from the teacher. This Scamper activity gives the students an equation that they are able to modify. 36 out of 46 of my students completed the Scamper activity. Overall, Scamper was a success. Future changes would be that I would like to see all of my students complete the Scamper activity. I also would like to give the lesson on what Scamper stands for and how to implement it at the beginning of the year so that we can use it more often. What I learned from this is that I just need to trust that my students can do anything because they completely rocked this lesson. Each student was only required to choose 3 aspects from the Scamper model to implement. What stuck out to me from this student was that they chose to rearrange the 2x and 3x and notice that it would not change the equation. And this is a third example of the Scamper model from my class.